steepest road you'll ever drive down in a bus, let me tell you that. 18-degree angle, 32% grade. You certainly wouldn't want to drive down this hill in the shuttle bus that brought you up here, especially not with Adam driving. He just got his license there a couple days ago. So this bus is built for the task. What we're in today is called a Terra Tire bus. It's got 6-wheel drive on it. It's got transmission lockup, which is a feature that we're using right now to slow us down this hill. Transmission lockup essentially couples the engine with the transmission, allowing us to use the gears and the engine as a brake rather than use our service brake down this entire hill. Also, I'm sure you guys noticed as you load the bus, these are not your average tires. Those are called Terra tires out there. And they're designed and built mainly for the agricultural industry, but the mining industry uses them significantly as well. But you'll see these tires on farm tractors. And the farmers will use these tires on their tractors to distribute the weight of their vehicle over the soft farm fields that they travel on, so they don't churn up their mud, or turn up the soil into mud out there. So that's why they use these big Terra tires. But we stole this idea from the farmers and put them on the Ice Explorers so that we can travel around on the ice without damaging the glacier too much. An ancient body of ice out there, so we don't want to chew it all up with the tires that we travel out on there with. So 6 massive Terra tires, each one of them is about 1 meter wide, so that gives us a lot of surface area making contact with the earth, and therefore lots of traction. And I'm sure you guys are aware that driving on ice can be quite treacherous, quite slippery. And that's why we got these big tires, so we don't slip and slide all over the place out there. At this point in time, guys, does anybody think we're on the glacier yet? No? I believe it or not, we are on the ice, guys. I know it doesn't look like it here, but underneath this rock that we're driving on, there's about 100 meters or roughly 300 feet of ice underneath the bus right now. This is referred to as the ice core moraine. And about 30% of the Athabasca Glacier's surface is in fact covered in rocks. Now you might think this would be a bad thing, but of course this rock has come down here naturally, and it's actually protecting the glacier. It's acting a little bit like an insulating blanket, almost like a sunscreen for the ice. So when the direct sunlight comes down here, the rock protects the ice from that sunlight, hence making this part of the glacier melt much slower than the exposed ice that we're about to drive on here. And if we look on your left-hand side there now, looking closely, you'll actually be able to see the ice underneath the rocks there. And of course, temperatures dropping out here. We're quickly approaching winter. A couple weeks into fall already. There's not much water flowing on the glacier, but in the summertime there's a full-on river flowing right through this area. Now, that has frozen up quite a bit. There's not as much water flowing nowadays. See a little trickle of water there on our left on the side of the road. For the most part, everything's freezing up out here. They're in the snow. Oh, here we are, guys, out on the ice now. Besides this glacier, has anybody ever been on another glacier in the world? Any other glacier travelers back there? No? Yeah, whereabouts? Lastly, was that the Mendenhall Glacier by chance? Or? I don't know. They all have strange names and hard to remember, right? This is the Athabasca Glacier. Welcome aboard here, guys. Now, you wouldn't know to look at it, but the glacier is moving right now. It's moving underneath our tires, down over your right shoulder, and towards the Icefield center. Now, of course, it moves too slowly to see with the naked eye, but if you were to set up time-lapse cameras or something like that, you would see that this glacier is moving much like a giant frozen river of ice here. And it's pretty erosive, this glacier. Glaciers do incredible amount of erosion through the landscape, and you can see the erosion that the glaciers have done all throughout the Icefield Parkway as you travel out here from either Jasper or Lake Louise, from the north or south. Now these glaciers move very slowly, but over time they grind away at the rock, creating this beautiful landscape that you see all around the Rockies. Incredibly powerful forces in each of these glaciers. In case you're wondering what these little tracks are here on the right-hand side, last night a few of my friends and I, we came out here to take advantage of some early season snow. We got the snowboards out early, which is one of the advantages of working and living out here. This literally is our backyard, so we get to play in it after work. It is quite a beautiful backyard. I'm excited to see the snow. That means that we can probably come back out here again tonight. Look at the surface of the glacier, you're going to see different colors, different textures out there. Underneath the snow, you'll notice that there is a bit of dark material out there. It does appear a little bit dirty, but this is all natural dirt on the surface of the glacier. In the summertime, we get very strong winds, and it's pretty dry out here in the summer as well, so a lot of dust and sand off of the surrounding mountains and these piles of rock surface of the glacier, giving it that brown look that you see underneath the snow. You'll also see that the glacier appears blue in this carved out area here. Now we do have a grader that comes out here every single morning to smooth out the road for us, making it safe for us to operate these tours. But he also controls the water that flows here. He's carving out a bit of a ditch on either side of the road. Now with the carving out, he's exposed that very dense blue glacial ice. A lot of people ask me, well, why is the ice blue? And it all has to do with the way light travels through it. So we have white light traveling in from the sun, of course. White light is going into the glacier, and all of the colors of the light spectrum, except for the shorter wavelengths, are trapped in the ice. So the longer wavelengths, being reds, yellows, oranges, those colors, they get absorbed in the glacier, they get trapped in there. However, the shorter wavelengths, being the blues, the greens, the turquoise colors, they can't penetrate the density of the glacial ice, so they get refracted back to the eye, and that's why the glacier appears blue in some spots up there. So it's actually a bit of an illusion that we refer to as refraction. So it gives it the beautiful blue coloration you see up there. You might be wondering what these people are doing out here on the right-hand side of the bus. They got all kinds of mountaineering equipment, so I'm assuming that they are practicing what we call glacier crevasse rescue. Now, because glaciers are constantly moving, the ice is under compression, but it's also stretching apart in some spots. So the ice can only stretch to a certain point, causing the ice to split apart, forming these cracks known as crevasses. And this can be very dangerous for mountaineers that are traveling on glaciers, and that's why they always rope up when they come out here. We're talking about cracks that get over 100 feet deep, so imagine being surrounded by 4 walls of ice and the glacier's moving. You wouldn't want to be trapped in there for too long, and that's what those guys are practicing, is to get people out of these cracks before it becomes a serious issue. And keep in mind, guys, I do not have any rope on my board, or on board the bus. There's no rope here. None of these buses have any rope. In fact, the Discovery Center doesn't even carry any rope. No emergency procedure set in place out here in case you do fall into a crevasse. So keep that in mind. We're also an hour and a half from the closest hospital. With the weather today, I don't even think they'd send out a helicopter rescue team, which would, even on the clearest of days, take at least an hour to get a helicopter out here. Guess what? It only takes about 45 minutes to succumb to hypothermia and die inside the glacier. So with that in mind, be very careful out there. But no need to worry, guys. As long as you stay within the designated area here, you're going to come home safe. But if you can venture out, you're doing so at your own risk, all right, guys? And make sure you're aware of those risks, because if you fall into a hole, I'm not going to come get you. We'll find you in about 70 years when the glacier melts out of here, all right? Stay within the designated area. It's pretty clearly defined here. Pylons are marking out holes in the glacier, but there's also a few holes that haven't been discovered yet, all right? So watch your step at all times. Last year I had a lady that was walking around in this designated area, and she fell into a hole that went over her head, all right? So unless you're looking for the world's coldest bath, just be very careful, all right, guys? Is there any questions I can answer before you head on out there? No? We're going to be here for about 20 minutes. We're leaving at 2:45, all right? The bus number is 548. Once again, my name is James. If you have any questions for me, I'll be out there with you. I'll go down to the bottom of the stairs here first to assist you off the bus. And if you do have any questions for me, feel free to ask, all right? 2:45, yeah.